Welcome to another edition of the Referees Corner right here on IslandStats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me is the chairman of the Referees Committee, Mr. Cranston Williams. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams.
Good evening, Mr. Basin. Good evening, audience. Good evening, world.
Well, Mr. Williams, you recently attended a conference with refereeing.
That's correct.
What were some of the things shared in this particular meeting?
A lot of things were shared. It was actually the head of CONCACAF refereeing department's referees were all invited. The person that facilitated was Mr. Brian Hall, along with regular FIFA instructors. They shared things such as about match reporting, women in refereeing, elite assessor courses, instructor courses, requirements of elite referee, the FIFA requirements for referee, beach football, futsal, and basically how we can work together as CONCACAF countries to get things done.
No, that's interesting because a lot of those things can apply to Bermuda, but don't necessarily apply to Bermuda. But one of the most interesting things is female referee.
Yes.
I know you've been working hard to up those numbers for Bermuda.
Yes.
Are there any other countries having the same difficulty as far as getting females to officiate?
Yeah, most of the countries seem to have the same issue. The Central American countries seem to have more than we do, because I guess for them it's more of a job, as opposed to Bermuda where it's not. But I did reiterate to CONCACAF that here in Bermuda, obviously the main thing is the abuse, and I was advised keep working hard and also state that we need to be a little bit stricter in regards to sanctions that we put on people that do abuse the referees.
Yeah, and that's more to do with players, or is it spectators, or
spectators, anyone that's at fault.
How do we police that? Is that where an official would file? I want to say a complaint, but it's not really a complaint, is it? It's more of a in the report. If they can identify who the person is.
Yes, they're going to do that, as well as also the club ground who have the security in place, so that something like that does happen. They can have that person removed from the grounds immediately.
Okay. All right. So when because it's always good to share problems in the region, because it would prove that you don't stand alone when you get to problems of the nature in which we get into here locally. And would you say we are better off than some of the other countries, or are we struggling just like they are?
In a lot of cases, we are in the same boat as other countries. Some were a little better off, and others were along the same. The biggest thing that I noticed was that most of the Caribbean countries, in particular, fitness was the biggest thing when it came to the referees. Our referees are just not fit, and they do not take care of themselves as well as they possibly could. So that's something they've also stated we need to work on with the instructors and make sure that our referees take better care of themselves.
Where can we see ourselves? You've been the chairman of refereeing for, is this your third year, second year?
Fourth year.
Okay. You've seen improvements. You've seen drastic improvements. I've seen some improvements this year alone. But where can we see this going in, say, another 5 years' time?
I received some news tonight that I'm not going to share at present, but I'm very elated about it. So that news alone, we are definitely on the right path. We have a youth referee program, which I'm very excited about as well. We have more and more young players, or youth referees. In particular, I have 4 females that are part of the program. 3 play for our national under-17 team, and I believe there's another 2 also interested. So from that standpoint, hopefully, even though yes, they do get some sort of payment for refereeing these matches, hopefully they will continue in the future. That will bode well for us.
Well, when I talk to the youngsters about officiating, they're keen because they're now finding out that they're learning more about the game itself. So when you go to these courses or you go to these meetings, are your eyes open to new things each time you go?
Well, this is actually the first head of refereeing workshop that CONCACAF have here. We're planning to have another one next year, November 9th to 11th. So yes, I was, as a newbie, I guess you would say, I was a little bit overwhelmed at first. I wasn't sure I'd be able to fit in. But getting there, and you realize they're humans just like me, and I tend to ask questions. I was in the room with people that officiated World Cup matches, so they had a referee for their countries, but the problems are just the same, similar to us. But the one thing I must say is that they embraced me, and I was able to ask questions. Even I was able to make contacts where now there's a prospect of having what you call referee exchanges between nations. Or let's just say someone's having a course and they have the numbers where possibly a neighboring army go to their country and participate. So those type of things that make it a lot easier.
Right. Well, obviously, getting together, there's type of conversations that can be had.
Yes.
You're going to share we might trade off.
There are a lot of countries. You have Turks and Caicos, you have Bahamas. You
I
have
know they all
Trinidad.
want to come here.
Yes, they do. You have Trinidad, you have Antigua, you have Bermuda, what was the other one? Jamaica, definitely. So you had Canada as well. I had a long conversation with their head of referee department. USA is a little more tricky because of the how the rules of the states and liabilities, those type of things. But there are a lot of countries willing to send people here and also to take our process there as well.
So, knowing that there's an opportunity that some of our officials can actually get an opportunity to travel and referee in a domestic league, but outside of Bermuda, does that add excitement to them? Have you had that conversation with them that this is a possibility, but these are the things we need to do?
I haven't had the conversation yet because we have our meetings on Mondays. Actually, meeting in referees come and train. But I'm planning to call a meeting for all the referees so we can sit down and discuss it. Because yes, most of our referees, unfortunately, it's unfortunate, are over 45 years old, the majority. So there are some that are in good condition who would like to get and take part in this. So I explained to a couple of them in the group chat that this is what's out there for you. And a few of them are willing to take it up.
Okay. New challenge, new
challenge.
Now, how would they go as a team? Would 3 go or 4 go as a team, or would it? Because I guess conversations is just getting underway. So,
ideally, what you were hoping to do, yes, is have a team of 4. But in the cases there'll be 2 persons that's planning to go to FIFA, which will be Mr. Augustus, Anton Augustus, and Tashawn Simons. We also have Amari Majors and Taylor Donovan. More likely would split them up, send 2 ARs, and they would officiate with the level 1 referees.
Oh, okay.
And it would be high pressure matches to get them outside of the companies.
Right. Hands right on the back.
Yeah. High pressure matches.
Now, you over the course of this season have upped the level of youth referees. You've been doing a campaign that you've seen rewards in it. But what are some of the I guess dialogue you're getting from some of these kids' parents or these young people's parents that has got them feeling good about the fact that their young one is now involved in an official or officiating capacity?
The feedback thus far has been positive. Most of the parents do bring the youngsters to the games. They like it, and I guess also help them, and they actually have to play. They now understand the pressure that a referee goes through. Even though most of them under 7s, under 9, under 11 matches, but they're excited to do. Because they're young people and different things pop up at times, you might have a referee who, the schedule comes out. So, Mr. Williams, I only have 1 game. I don't have to play, but I see you're short right here, so can I fill in for that person? That's the part I like, the camaraderie where somebody say, listen, I can't make this game, and they just support each other. The only thing I have seen once or twice in a couple of matches has been where fans keep or attempting to shout out abuse to the youngsters, where I've had to step in and say, these are youngsters, they will make mistakes, and they can train. As in, they're going to ask from parents and spectators, and you have matches, and these youngsters give them the time to do something positive for the community. Please encourage them. As in, last, please encourage them.
You get some people that get caught up in the game.
Yes. The youngsters and the children just want to play football.
Right.
It's more, I'm finding more the spectators who are the ones who are making a big deal out of it.
So outside of what you've already said about the recent meeting at a referees meeting that you're going to, what were some of the things also discussed there that possibly you can bring back and implement here?
Main thing that Mr. Hall stressed was excellence. Excellence on and off the field. He also states, he said, passion. He said referees need to have passion for the game. He highlighted, and actually there's a lot of PowerPoint presentations that I have to share with my instructors, which stated different things that's required. What's the role of the head of referee? We need to have one. which unfortunately because of our side we don't, but we're going to implement that shortly. He stated, they stated what was the role of my fitness instructors, the role of the technical instructors, the role of the association supporting the referees. He also gave us different ways that you can get funding to support your programs. Luckily for us, we've had a rep course for the past 3 years, and we were highlighted as having one again in 2018, more than likely the second or last week of April. They also highlighted about sports management and how the referees need to maintain themselves. Something that was new to me, how they can highlight and show you this is what you need to do in order to maintain optimal fitness. In terms of persons aspiring to win the FIFA list, they made it very clear. They're looking at more younger candidates. The head of refereeing, Mr. Kalina, made it clear come the next World Cup and the one after, he wants to have 50% young people. That's what his aim is, and he wants excellence. And the thing I liked also they shared with us in the meeting was that the referees are put on different tiers. So you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 referee. And they also stated just because you're on the FIFA list, you have to maintain and show improvement. Otherwise, you come off.
Okay, for this region, obviously, there's always pride in every region because we have 5 regions in FIFA.
5.
Yeah, 5. So for this region, you would want to have the most representative countries playing in the World Cup, countries officiating in the or region officiating in the World Cup. How much of that drives this new committee, this referee?
Well, based on what I was told, they did do a presentation that had to do with the head of FIFA different regions, and based on the tier system that we are using, they're using CONCACAF, it was showed to the other the other regions, and they were shocked and surprised and said, "Oh, that's something that they'd like to try as well."
So something that this side has already implemented.
Yes.
Everybody else is
now they realize they're trying to come on board as well.
Right. So obviously for the people in the room, it must be something feeling good about it because you're pioneers kind of thing.
Yes, that's a must.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, obviously you get a chance to sit around a table with countries our size, and obviously countries much bigger than us.
Yes.
But the countries our size and just a little bigger than us, what are their conversations like? Are they? Well, I know I already asked you about having the same problems, but are there associations? Are their referees associations? Are they as strong and vibrant as what we would consider we have here?
The biggest problem, because they actually put it up on the slide sheet, for the Central American countries and the Caribbean is funding. Most of the head of referees or chairman referees committee all said the same thing. The biggest problem is getting funding to do what they would like to do. Fortunately for us, I do sit in other capacity in the BFA second vice president. So with that, and I also have support of the president and the general secretary. So funding for us has not been as difficult as it been for some of the horror stories I heard from other countries whereby someone planned the course, but they didn't get funding for the course for the referees, like the rep course, so they couldn't have it. Or if a country only has 15 referees, so they can have a rep course, because the minimum should have is 30. There's some issues they have. Or they have an issue where the referees just got a stipend, they don't really get paid, that's how we do it here.
Okay.
So it's a little different, but or you have a referee that go to work in the day and travel 3-4 hours to go make his game in the evening.
Now, the last few international matches we played, even the friendly matches, we've seen a lot of officials come from the South American. Would that be considered a full-time job for these guys, or are they like our officials that have a job but maintain a fitness and maintain a level that get on the FIFA list and stay there?
For the South Americans, a lot of they have professional leagues, some of them, so the referees do that type of thing. But for us, we don't have that. I do know in the States that you have professional referees as well. But the ones that have been coming here, from a lot of them for the States. I really can't say in terms of some do have regular jobs. I did speak to a couple of them when I was there, and some also that's all they do is FIFA.
Right. Now, for someone like yourself, you played the game, didn't necessarily officiate the game, but now you're in this capacity of a leadership of officials. Were there any other people that had your credentials like that in the meeting?
There were I believe it's three persons. So for me, sitting there, and you have people when they say, you fish in the World Cup, and you see 5 or 6 people standing up. Have you fished in a CONCACAF championship game? See this man is standing up. And then you realize, look around, like 3 or 4 people sitting. I was like, oh boy, what am I into? But as was stated to me, even though I haven't done that, I have still, the committee has managed to achieve a lot.
Mm.
And it was highlighted of us were with Mr. Simons and Mr. Augustus to say that last year when they went to the tournament, they basically said they weren't ready. They sent it early. And it was this year, Mr. Augustus stayed until the semi-final, and Mr. Simons actually did a final.
Mm.
So they said clearly that he was working hard.
Right.
And they also highlighted the fact that we have this particular shoot and also things that we post on Facebook about our training sessions.
Mm.
So that said to me right away that Bermuda's being watched.
Yes.
To
Yes.
hear the person that's head of CONCACAF referee and say, yes, I see your posts and you're working hard. I'm like, okay. I'm clearly doing something right.
You can't do anything wrong now.
No, you can't. Definitely not.
The world's watching.
They're watching. Yep, they are.
Well, welcome. All right. So you said earlier there's going to be announcements soon of some good news out of the association.
Mm-hmm.
So we look forward to that. But sitting around the table with your colleagues, you the president, the first vice president, and the rest of the executive, there's so much going on in Bermuda football right now. We have getting ready for Nicaragua, we're getting ready for the under 20 boys as well. We got officials on the move. How are you guys managing all of this?
We have a good team as our executive. Sometimes we can be dysfunctional, but we do work well together.
Mm-hmm.
And the president is driven. There's certain things he would like to see. General secretary is also driven. Everybody's on the committee is driven. So we just take it on stride. And as we say, this is a good problem to have. Because if you'd have asked maybe last or 2 years ago, would you expect our under 17 girls to be in the finals? More likely you would say no.
Right.
But this is clearly showing that something we're doing is right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to continue to do it. And all that we ask is for the country to support us in what we're trying to do.
Well, you got a lot of, in any organization, in Bermuda, 2 organizations, football and cricket. The administrators take a lot of time.
Yes, we do.
But there are times when you guys deserve pats on your back, and I'm not saying that because we're sitting here, but there are times when you guys deserve pats on the back. You're not one to sit around and wait for that. However, what drives you personally the most? Trying to prove those people wrong or getting the job done?
My personal view, when I became the referee to the chain, as I told the audience in Miami, Florida, this was not something that I planned to do. Kind of fell into my lap side awkwardly, but it's here now, the job I had to do. And as an educator, this is my first passion. The fact that young people were coming on board because all we ever see in newspapers is negativity, particularly about our young boys. And to know I have so many young men who show up on Saturdays, send out a schedule at maybe 8:30, 10, 11:30, or 1. But even some of my senior national team players now who are now officiating. Yes, that is rewarding and it makes me feel proud. You have to remind them they show up. So those type of things that, yes, that does drive me. I'm very passionate and protective of my referees as in everything that I do. Because, yes, the youth representatives are mine. And I am protective of them. And I put in a group chat, I encourage them. So look, you guys have done well. Just the feedback we've gotten. And give them positive as well as negative feedback. My instructors also praise of what's going on. And, yes, it does drive. And the other thing, the senior referees, as you know, Mr. Grimes passed away, he long-standing person in the BFA, made shoes to fill. I did not even attempt to try to. However, remembering the last conversation I had with Mr. Grimes was, he told me to make sure I get people on the FIFA list. And that has been something burning inside of me ever since.
Right.
And now I can say, Mr. Grimes, your dream has come true. We do have a FIFA listed official. We received the news today. So, Mr. Grimes, rest in peace. It has been accomplished.
Right. Well, that's working for you.
Well,
the emotion takes over.
Yeah, the emotion takes over.
But in the end, you look at it and you say, job well done to the individual and to the team around them because it's been a long, hard journey, but they haven't been through this alone. They've had support from.
It was totally a team effort. Yeah. I cannot take the credit as much as I would like to say, yes, my hard work and pushing. It was a total team effort.
Right.
I did initiate the conversation one night with him, and I asked a question. And the Saturday, Mr. Rain and Mr. Grimes started a course with the youngster, and it just progressed from there. But I must say, he has worked hard. Some people might view him as being arrogant and cocky, but we view him as his confidence. Our little reaction now is that he has to remain humble, keep his feet on the ground, and just go from there. But it has been a long, hard road. Now, next up is I have one. Now I want four. I want a team. And I also want my females. So Miss Stacy Bay, if you're watching, Miss Shayra Bell, if I pronounced that right, if you're watching, Miss Kyla Brangman, and anyone else that knows football is interested, please contact me as FIFA is waiting.
Well, what a way to end. Thank you for joining tonight. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Oh, before I go, one other person I must send a huge shout out to Miss Kalisha Antoine from Antigua. I have to say thank you. Thank you.
Did she have done anything yet?
No, she not yet. I haven't had a chance to let her know.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. Have a good night. Good news.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.